What's everybody? I'm being Sammy, aka Brand. This is episode 73 of the Anime Dojo. I'm alongside Chris Steven. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. Whoop whoop. We in the late episodes, about to hit triple digits pretty soon.
Yes, yes, we are. We're about 30 away from that. Dion will be joining us a little bit later, and then so Chris will start out this show with me tonight. We're gonna talk about a couple things. We're gonna talk about the summer season as a whole because summer season is about to come to an end. We're about to get into the fall. We're also gonna be talking about Aplex doing the Aplex Fest 2024. They had some big announcements. Soul Leveling was one of them. We'll talk about Soul Leveling by itself because that's actually the biggest announcement from Aplex. And then we'll go through the charts and then the episodes. Done to People episode 11 and Shy episode 23. Let's start out with this though. Let's start with the fact this summer season is about to be over. I'm gonna say this with all respect to the summer season. This has probably been one of the weaker summer seasons in a long time, but I already previously called this was a weak summer season because summer gets usually eaten up by spring because spring has all the big stuff in it, and the summer gets nothing really else. I mean, we had some hitters. You had VTuber Legend, which I need to catch up on. You have 2.5 to see 2.5 dimension seduction, which is really good. Dungeon People is really good. You have I Parry, which is really good. You have Bye Bye Earth. You have, but it feels like you can they're hit and miss. Like you can skip an episode, but you don't miss out on anything, or you miss an episode, but it's really good. Like good example of that. My Hero has gotten really strong now, and it doesn't feel like you can miss an episode really pretty much now because it's just gotten that strong hit to the end. Um, Chris, what do you think about the summer season? What do you think about what do you think about how the summer season's gonna finish out?
Okay, check me out. You know what dogs do when their butt itches?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like how they drag their bottom across the carpet just so they can try to scratch they butt
Yeah.
behind.
So carpet on the ground, something like that, to give them.
Right. So whatever's causing that itch is what this summer season was.
Okay, explain.
Like
Going
it
going more
was
depth.
they had a few things that you wanted to watch and they were decently good, but you constantly had to scrape your eyes on sandpaper in order to filter out the crap that was bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Like take Shy for example. Shy was something me and you waited for, and look forward to seeing, and and through watching the entire show, so up to this point, they only had really one good episode. It's like you had to drag your eyes across carpet in order to get to the one good episode.
It's funny. On the flip side of that point, you have I Parry and Onsen Adventurer who will do flip flop episodes where Onsen is good 1 minute, I Parry is weird the next. Parry's Parry's good, Onsen's bad. And it's kind of like they're doing the exact same story, and it yet doesn't make sense because it's like, wait, this story makes no sense because both these characters are supposed to be like highly overpowered at what they
That,
do, and yet it feels like you make them really just not smart.
that's what I'm saying. Like you've had to drag your eyes against carpet just to see what was good and what was bad about each episode. Like, bro, honestly, if it wasn't for Onsen, Shy, and Dungeon People, maybe like those four, maybe with another two, there would have been no reason for me to watch this summer season.
Well, no. And I think that's the scary thing because look at the rest. Like I mentioned VTuber Legend. VTuber Legend, 2.5 Z seduction, 2.5 dimension seduction, excuse me. And even to a point, for me, I think also Bye Bye Earth, Who's Gonna Remember in This World? Who Remember His World was interesting. Remember, we watched the first episode at Dion's house, and yet it was funny because it caught your eye like that. And now I'm going back and watching it, and it's kind of gotten to that point of like, huh? This doesn't. He's getting stronger. He's battling off these people, but yet he hasn't regained any of his memory throughout that. It kind of feels like they're just cycling. They're just doing the same cycle over and over again where he's beating these battles. He's getting more camaraderie with everybody, which makes sense. Different world entirely. but he hasn't gained any of his memory. So I'm just like, huh? This doesn't feel right. Still confusing.
Exactly.
But I think also, which is also kind of odd to me, I think the thing that props this up too high, so high, is that you have My Hero in the forefront. And the funny thing about My Hero, I said this from the beginning, My Hero is slow as all get out at the beginning. So when it was My Hero was super slow and took off 3 times within like a first 6 episodes, like 7 episodes or something like that, it ended up being like, what are y'all doing? Y'all took a break for the Olympics, which makes sense. Y'all took a break for something else, which kind of makes sense. And then the other break you took didn't really make sense because it was like there was something going on in Japan at the time. There wasn't just a random break, and then after the break, you just kind of ramped up and had really no reason to go. Like, okay, what just happened? Like, what has changed? But we get the ramp up because we had to get to the end of this season. Do you think most companies in Japan, Chris, or most anime companies in Japan, are basically looking for summer? We're looking for fall and spring. Winter and summer are kind of just there if need be.
If I'm being realistic, it sounds like and it seems like the summer season is when these companies are trying out their new artists, their new stories, their they're trying out new things and to see if it works. Like they're trying out all the artists and new storyboards. This is the time they get all the interns, and because that's what it feels like. That's what the shows feel like. And then they're just asking people to work with it, and whether it works or not.
But
Because if
also,
you think about it, it was the summer season when we first got Mash.
yes, it was. That's right.
And
That
then
was
it
the same.
came back in the winter season because
Yes, it
because
did.
it did well.
It did well. I I think that's the thing is I get it. I get your point. You throw out in the summer season and see what hits. The thing is, going back to the thing you said from the first time with Shy, mainly you liked the first season of Match. But then the second season for the winter came out, we're kind of like, what is this? What happened? It wasn't as confusing as Shy was, but it was still confusing. It was like the story didn't make sense. There's things in the plot that also kind of just random. He was doing random things. Mashbon was, which I think that's the other thing. It's also kind of hard to put a show out and then have the next season come out in the winter. It is extremely hard because I don't think you have. Oh yeah, it hit, but the reason Mash hit because of song. The opening song for Mash is a banger. People do dances to it. There's a dance choreograph to it. There's so much other stuff that people do for that. I get why it's there, but at the same time, that's all people cared about because the song hit 60 million views or 60 million hits. What do you want to say? And outside that, actors hold the show that much. I I want to ask this question, but I don't know how to explain it. Do you think the other big issue with the summer season is something I thought about and something that I kind of always think about when we look at fall, we look at spring, we look at winter, but it's also something I think about now because we've been to a bunch of these already conventions. I think this summer season is really hard to put big shows in because people are going to conventions, people meaning the actors of these other big shows, people are going to get the merch and things. So is it basically they're just going to put something there, see if it works, and then if it doesn't, they're not going to lose much because people are going to still support the bigger shows like Soul Leveling, Attack on Titan, My
But
Hero.
look at Shy though. Last year, this Shy came out in the fall. Did it
It
not?
did, it did, it did.
Okay, but the fans and I guess executives felt to the point to where they needed to bring it during the spring season, so or the summer season. So which means does that mean that the show did worse?
Yeah, I can see what you're getting at. Yeah, but that would be odd if it did worse between going in the fall and then switching to summer. Like that's the other thing too. Like the manga, half these I've never read the manga for. I'll put that out there. I haven't read the manga for most of these. But it's like we said at MASH a bunch of times. And you said it once with MASH. When we watched MASH, you're like, if the manga is this way, then this is just a really weird story. If the manga for Shy is the same way we've watched up to this point, it's a really weird story. Like it doesn't make sense. I don't know what to do to fix the summer season. There's not really a fix for the summer season. If there is, we'll find. I don't know what it would be. But I think the summer season, you need to put some big hitters in there just to balance out all the new. I'm not saying
But
you need
maybe
to.
their big hitters were like Elusive Samurai and
Yeah,
Slime,
yeah,
you know?
Slime. And Slime was continuing, and I think even Slime kind of got people got bored of Slime, which is odd. I haven't caught up with it, but I'm not bored of it. I think people get bored of it because Slime's a bunch of talking, which is usually something in anime which is really annoying. But the talking in that sense was interesting, had a plot behind it. There was reason for them to talk. Outside, the other big thing I always talk about with Slime is the fact that they try to use different camera shots. We're just not staring at two characters talking. So they try to make it interesting. I think that was the hard thing about Slime. But on the other end of the coin, Elusive Samurai, people love Elusive Samurai, but some people don't like it because it's the old style anime. I love that because it has an old school style to it. Okay, I'm gonna ask this question, Chris, and I'm gonna ask this in a way: how would you rate this summer season in terms of just what you've seen? What do you think about the shows we've seen? What would you rate the summer season as a whole?
So from what we've seen thus far, and everything we've seen up to this point, I'm giving this season a solid 5.
Oh, oh,
Like the number of shows that are good or even decently good versus the shows that are just flat out bad. Yeah, there aren't that many, and it's very lopsided.
but you think I think that's kind of funny because if it's that lopsided one way or the other, then that tells me I would rather. Hmm, I don't know. It's between I would rather just dump. I would rather have more bigger things to hit the summer season, or if you're really gonna do it, just put more, like try to put more things that are small there and try them out. I don't know what you could do because it's funny. I'm gonna bring this up. I think High Dive did a better job than Crunchyroll,
Ooh.
which is kind of sad to say
No, it's
because I
not.
think it's not.
No. That is what's supposed to be a healthy competition between corporate giants.
Yeah, because I think iPerry is a better show. I think 2.5 Deduction is a better show. I definitely think Dungeon People's really good. Like Oshino Code season 2 has been strong. Like you have things there that's in High Dive that's been strong. Oh, I forgot to mention one I've been watching, Plus Size Elves, which is amazing. I've caught to that. It's beautiful. I love how they do that show. Like it's weird that High Dive will be strong one season and then Crunchy will be strong the next. But it's funny, Crunchyroll had Hides My Feelings in Russian, you had Pseudo Harem, you had you had Bye Bye Earth, you had all these things, and yet the only ones I really cared about was Bye Bye Earth, Who Remembers in This World, uh, VTuber Legend, which I think is good. I just think it's kind of repetitive because it does the same thing over and over again. In the sense, it talks about the VTuber stuff and kind of bring out your shell of doing the same thing over again with our main character. But then also, it's kind of funny because you also have like Pseudo Harem, which Pseudo Harem's okay. But with me, you got the plot of that like that. We knew what was going on. I've seen the fact that's gotten wholesome now, and what they're about to do with that show is like, oh, okay, we know where we're heading. We could have got there faster. Same thing with Russian, because Russian's about to get really interesting and really sweet. Same with like Days of My Stepsister. It feels like, and I know you talked about this before. It feels like Crunchyroll want to do that more edgier. I'll say edgier, somewhat stuff. They won't, but that's the way the company is. But the flip side is you have stuff like VTuber Legend, where VTuber Legend is literally just being a VTuber and how to be a VTuber, and she's like literally saying cursing every 5 seconds. Or they're playing a game that's basically looks very lewd, or they're talking about things. It's just like, okay, so you're playing with it, but you're not going to go farther into it.
But I mean, but here's the thing though. High Dive has always had more edgier content because they're the new guys who are freshly from, having a strictly PC website. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so they can be more edgy. But however, as long as Crunchyroll is still updating what they show, then I mean, there's nothing that can be said and done. But
Yeah,
I think we eventually might see shows come on both platforms.
in what sense?
Can you imagine seeing 2.5 come on both Crunchyroll and High Dive?
Eventually, I can see it. I can see that. I can see iPerry.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Oshinoko, but it would take a lot of work.
But that's the point that I'm bringing up though. So I mean, so what then? Because then Crunchyroll would win out of pure content just because they have the most content.
Um, I I don't see. The thing is, if they ever did a thing where, and what I'm about to say is probably weird, but if they ever did a thing where like plus size L's moved over, or domestic girlfriend, things like that, if those things moved over, like I think that would really bridge that gap. But that's the thing, like that's the stuff that Crunchyroll doesn't really want because they're going to put it in a place where it's hidden so far deep. I I don't know. If I had to give this anime season a rating, I would have to give it like a 3.
Wow, you gave it a lower score than I did.
And only because I can give you 5 I like. I can give you I can give you 3 3 I love and 2 I can watch. The rest of it is kind of just there. And it's kind of sad because I think that's the weird part about all this. I think the summer season is kind of just rough because I know in the summer people aren't going to be watching a lot of anime. People are going to be going to do things, having parties, 4th of July in America. There's so many other things you do in the summer. That's not your priority. But also on the flip side, for an anime fan, that's con season, that's going to anime conventions, that's going to concert and things, that's going to do. So it's like you just don't have a lot there. I hope what they can do with the summer season and even the winter season is get some big hitters. How many big hitters they need? Get some smaller, get a couple big hitters, like 2 or 3. So you had JD, you had My Hero. Add 1 or 2 more to give it that bolstering of like, okay, I can see it happening. I can see it being a thing. Do I think it's going to change much? No. before we end this topic, I did have one thought, and I know you brought this up in the past, and I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, I'll be surprised. Do you think Crunchyroll will buy High Dive somewhere down the road?
It's possible.
They,
I do think it's possible. However, that would mean that Crunchyroll would be on the same level as like Netflix and Hulu
yeah,
because they are the prime other producers of anime.
that's that would be the issue I'm gonna be worried of. You would have they've been on some level as those two companies, and yet, Crunchyroll would have the monopoly, which is kind of funny. Think about this. Think about the fact that High Dive is only $6.55 a month, compared to Crunchyroll almost 10. There's a small difference there because Crunchyroll has more anime to their name. But yet the value proposition for High Dive is more intriguing because you get more diverse anime across High Dive's platform.
Yeah, but Crunchyroll always has the thing if you just know what you're looking for too.
True. And I think that's the other thing. The one thing I would hope that Crunchyroll kind of adopts from High Dive eventually is the fact that you can really the cleanness of the app and the on the website and just kind of having things a lot more cleaner. Because I think
Yes.
that's the one thing it's really hard to find a lot of them on Crunchyroll because it's not that clean, kind of cluttered. And if you really have to look for something, you have to search for it, you have to remember the names of the anime. So yeah. Um, but let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's gonna be interesting to see where the fall season goes, because fall, as of the list right now, still waiting because the list is gonna be coming out next couple days. The full list is a lot longer, or less, I think, a little bit longer. What's really gonna be in that fall list? Because that fall list is gonna be insane. And we already know it's gonna be insane because of the stuff we've seen prior, including stuff Chris, and Dion have seen in um going in. But first, seeing like a teaser for Mocha Punch, which is supposed to come out in the fall, or Mecha Udon. That's Mecha Udon. But yet, it's kind of like, okay, so now people are going to wait till fall, see what they can see. And then that's also a time period where it gets colder, people are staying inside more. We're getting close to holiday. There's a lot of other factors in there. So it's like, okay, I see why they try to boost your fall and spring. Those are because people are going to actually sit and watch. But let's get into this. Let's get into Aplex Fest 2024. So we're gonna, like I said, gonna leave the solo stuff for a second. We're gonna go to the other major stuff. This Aplex was kind of interesting because there wasn't a crazy amount of things coming out of it, but the things that came out of it was interesting. Like we got another announcement for a couple smaller shows from Aplex. We also got the announcement for something I didn't think we were going to get the announcement for, which is actually kind of surprising, was well, we were supposed to get the announcement for Windbreaker, which didn't happen, which doesn't surprise me. I didn't think we were going to get the answers about that, but I know they were talking about it. It's kind of also crazy to me because you think about how this Aplex was. Their only big hitter was soul leveling, but everything else around it kind of was there. Chris, what did you think about the announcements from Aplex Fest?
Okay, man. So the things that they did announce was fire. Let's get that straight.
Yes.
Like all of the shows that are coming out, bro, there are a lot. Like the list is fat. Like I think I told you yesterday that there are at least 10 shows that I want to watch with another 6 that I just want to see if they're good or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now the question is how many of these shows can I actually keep up with? So that's how I'm viewing this fall season coming up.
Mm,
Like now, there was now like for instance, Shangri-La.
yes.
Yes, I hope that's also going for 2 quarters too, because like they did last year, because that was fire for them.
Yes, it was. It helped them out a lot. It did.
Yeah.
I,
So
I will
go ahead.
say a lot of the stuff that's coming out, a lot of stuff coming out of Aplex, which I have listed up now. I had to find it. I don't know which thing I text y'all for it. A lot of it was stuff that we've seen, like Ruin Constant season 2, that they October premiere. We're getting Dark Moon, the Blood Altar, which is going to be sometime in 2025. It seems like it's a future premieres on Crunchyroll. A lot of like dramas and things in 2025. It may I ask for one final thing, which I've seen some stuff about that. That's getting adapted. That's coming in 2025. That's also going to be by the Aplex. Um, Virgin Punk, which seems kind of cool. That's going to be something different. Um, 2025. You have To Be a Hero X, which is later, later in 2020, coming. Like you said, Blue Exodus is on that list because that's the one of theirs that's coming in 2024. Gun Gale is 2024. It, it feels like Apex is on another roll because they know what they can do with their shows right now,
Yep.
which is scary. Um, which is scary because I think they also understand that they can really take their time. Why is Apex one of the few studios that can take their time?
Because they've already made a name for themselves at this point.
Yeah,
Everybody knows what they're known for. Everybody knows what stuff they've produced within the last X amount of years. Like
yeah.
look, I mean, I can't think of any shows off the top of my head, but maybe that just means I'm not that big of a fan. But I'm sure there are people that could tell you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It also feels like um, they understand how to market to their fans. Unlike Mappa, in some cases, sometimes they feel like they can just like this was like a live presentation, short live presentation. I think it was live streamed, if I remember correctly. That just showed off some of the stuff that was coming out, and I think a lot of people were hoping for Windbreaker, but I didn't expect Windbreaker to be there. I was not.
No, I didn't think because that was too soon for Windbreaker.
That's what
That
I
that would
thought.
have been too soon.
I didn't expect Windbreaker to like make an appearance because if Windbreaker would have made an appearance, all we're getting is like, oh,
Now,
we're
what I
here's a date for when it might come out. A year when it might come out again.
now one I would have liked to have seen is Hell's Paradise.
Is that an Apex one or is that a Mappa one?
It's Mappa, but I would
Apex.
have expected to hear about it.
Oh, because Apex produce. Okay, Apex does the producing work. Okay, all right.
I mean, I don't even know if they do the producing of it. It just that after all this time, I would have thought that would be one that we would hear about right about now.
Yeah, and I think that's only because I think the only reason we're not hearing about it because Mappa's doing that project for Attack on Titan. We're getting the Chainsaw Project. We're getting a couple other things, so they're putting it on the back burner. I think it's one of the things where unless they need it again, well, they're gonna need it again, guaranteed. But unless they need it anytime soon, I think Hell's Paradise is gonna sit on the back burner for the next like couple months to a year. They might put it out before JJK comes back for the calling game, but that would be the only reason you have them come back.
I mean, you're not lying. I mean, I don't know what else would cause them to come back if you ask me.
That's the downside. Me and Chris both love the show. Like we attest, it's one of the most interesting shows we've ever watched outside like Dead on Death Play and a couple other things. But it's like one of those ones where the story can continue. Where does it continue to? And who continues it? Because, or how they continue it? Because it has that weird thing of like, it does in a spot where it can be continued, but do you actually want to bring it back? Do they have a reason to bring it back? Is there a certain idea of bringing it back? But ultimately, also with this Aplex thing, it feels like Aplex understands they need to they're putting out stuff that I think people are going to enjoy. Solo and be the big one. But I think you have some of the dramas in there. You have some interesting like hero stuff in there. You have, I don't know what you call it. You have the one about the girl. So you have things there. I just don't know. I ultimately don't know what you're gonna get out of this, year for with Aplex, because I think for them, they know to not rush things. They know to take their time. They know to have like Fate. Oh yeah, that's right. Fate, Strange Fates is coming out, or Fate/Strange Fate is coming out too. So that's on that list. It's like there was so much here. It just kind of feels like okay, they kind of cooking. I think Gun Gale will be really good. I've never seen the first season. I need to probably go watch the first season. I'm kind of interested in that. This movie they're making, which is the Pola Matica, the movie, what else? Or Wigan Upon the Rise was unveiled for 2025 winter. Blue Exodus, which the first season of Blue Exodus was okay. Like I know that wasn't the greatest thing, but this season is gonna probably be more interesting. Demon Lord 2099. That's interesting just because of what the title is. That's October 12th. Yeah, there's a lot here. Like United Up, which is actually really interesting. That's 2025. Unborn. Here's one. I may be guilty receptionist, but I'm a solo any boss to clock out on time. So that's gonna be January, and that's gonna be like a good one. So I think they're gonna have a couple different ones they can really do. I'm wondering if we're gonna start seeing more stuff from them down the road, but how much more stuff can they really get into with
Well, see, that
all
was
the
one. The last one you said was actually one of the ones that I am looking forward to watching.
I may be a guild receptionist, but I'm a solo winning. Yeah, that sounds fun. That just
Yeah,
sounds fun. That sounds fun.
because I saw the trailer for it, and it was funny because she got tired of all of these soloists not being able to reach this part of a dungeon, so she goes beats herself, and then all of a sudden she starts getting people over again.
I I like that title because it reminds me. It kind of reminds me of what Oni's doing right now. But here's the thing about Onsen. When Onsen did it, he was a receptionist, and then he became a adventurous. She is a receptionist, being the boss and going back to being a receptionist. So she's not actually going to be an adventurer at any one point. Um, I I don't know. Like this is gonna be one of those seasons. This is gonna be one of the things with Aplex. If you have stuff like that, I'm more down. I will say the title's a little long, Chris, but that title's long in the sense of like condense that down a little bit. That's just me.
I mean, you're not wrong, but look how many other titles have been long, and there are some that are still longer.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It just kind of like not really one of my things.
I mean,
Um,
if you really start being honest with it, we're starting to see more American movies with long titles.
Yep, we are. We are actually seeing
So,
this.
so I mean, we're just getting to that point, you know.
Fair enough.
Like, okay, and look at Lord of the Rings. If you don't put anything else after that, you're talking about the entire saga.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That like,
Well, I mean, same with Harry Potter. Harry Potter, if you took just said Harry Potter, the rest of it that covers a lot of the saga that's not even without the other side of those titles that doesn't make sense because you're just covering the series itself. So yeah,
exactly, because if you even and you can't even say Hogwarts anymore without Hogwarts having its own backstory.
correct. Dion has joined us now. Dion, how
What
you
am I
doing this
missing?
evening?
Doing all
we're
right. How
talking
everybody doing?
we're talking about the Apex Fest, the stuff that came out from it. Did you have any thoughts about anything from that?
Did I have any thoughts about that?
Outside of solo
Where do
leveling,
I begin, bro?
we'll get that to us that in a second.
I mean, yeah, outside of solo leveling. So there's one that I looked at that was like, oh, this should be good. I think it's called I'm Getting Married to a Girl I
Yes.
Hate in My Class.
Yep. That's on this
Bro, that
list.
looks like it's gonna be hilarious.
That's
Wait, what was the
Absolutely
name of that one?
hilarious.
I'm
I'm
getting to,
getting married to a girl I hate in my class or something like
yeah,
that.
yep. I'm getting married to a girl I had in my class that is coming out in January of 2025.
Uh, the
It
ones
looks
that are
really
coming out
good.
in January are actually going to be looking pretty good too.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
all. So a lot of those are either January, early January, which also begs the notion of working a lot in winter, but we'll get to that later. Um,
You got Veroni coming back out, or
correct. That's what I mentioned.
Kenshin,
Communication.
Blue Exorcist. Like, it's
Roni is
supposed to
gonna
get good.
Roni Kenshin's gonna be or not Roni Kenshin. Blue Exorcist is gonna be interesting because this past season of Exorcist, not many people watched. It seemed like. So
Well,
I'm
the
wondering.
Blue Exorcist fans did.
That's fair. That is fair. I agree with that. But it just seemed like in general, it didn't get as much hype as I think it would have normally.
Yeah, but you
Because
know
people.
what? I think with that, Blue Exorcist is kind of slept on anyway.
Mm, okay.
Like, because I did notice that a lot of people went back and had to watch the first season.
Oh
Yes.
wow.
Yep.
For me, it was the same with Data Live.
So
Yes,
you had to
Like
go.
I
So
heard
you had
Data
to.
Live
exactly.
was really good, but you had to start it over so you can catch up.
So familiarize yourself with what was going on with the story.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, you got to think Blue Exorcist is old.
Well, yeah. At this
Like,
point,
it's old, and they didn't do a remake like Kenshin did. They
they continue the
Continue.
story.
continued the story. Yeah.
Continue. Kind of like Bleach. What Bleach is doing now with Thousand Year War.
Yeah.
It kind of continues
But
that
Bleach
story.
is known for that though. But see, that's something that Bleach is known for doing.
Correct. That's
For
fair.
new for a newer anime, well, not even newer anime, because like Dion said, it's just it's still old. It's older, but when you compare it to shows that have taken long hiatuses, you Blue Exorcist wouldn't be among those names.
Okay.
Yeah, especially stuff like Bleach. Each arc could stand alone, kind of like One Piece.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you know a little bit of the backing of the characters, each arc can stand alone. With Blue Exorcist, it all kind of runs together,
Okay.
kind of like
Okay.
Demon Slayer.
Okay. That's fair. Um.
Oh, one big thing. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Crunchyroll is getting the face series. Everything.
Okay.
Fate Stay Night, all of it. Crunchyroll's
Mm.
getting all of that
Huh.
with the new release of
Oh,
Fate.
told you.
Wow. Okay.
So Crunchyroll,
Wait. Wait.
Sony
Wait.
is actually
Wait. 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 Wait.
Aniplex Crunchyroll.
Wait. Okay, Dion. Before you got on this evening, me and Chris, we're just talking about summer season, and Chris said something. Chris, do you want to repeat it because you called it?
No, I want you to repeat it. I want you to repeat it.
He must have been right.
Chris basically said that Crunchyroll will do something to fix the problem of getting better anime. And what you just mentioned kind of will fix that problem. Here's the thing, and I said High Dive was a better part of the summer season this year, and Crunchyroll was kind of lackluster. So you tell me Sony's like, okay, we can finally spend the money to what? Come on now.
Yeah. Well, I think what it is Sony itself is trying to let these corporations operate under their own umbrellas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got Aniplex, and then you have Crunchyroll, who now has Funimation.
Yep.
How did you take these two powerhouses and not let them work together?
Fair enough. So
they've already sharing like Demon Slayer and stuff like that.
They share a
like,
lot.
Let them team up. Why not?
So basically, what you're telling me, and this is gonna be kind of funny if this happens, but that's the other thing. Because I mentioned to Chris, do you think see a day where High Dive gets bought by Crunchyroll? He said maybe. Well, the better question is now: do you see Aplex and Crunchyroll working together to have a partnership where all Aplex stuff goes to Crunchyroll day and date?
I see Aniplex buying Crunchyroll and keeping it the same. Sorry, did I jump in there?
No, you're good. If you're right, that would be insane.
Because Aniplex already owns Crunchyroll. Let me be quite frank. Crunchyroll is not its own owner.
Well, no,
Sony and Aniplex own
Crunchyroll. Yeah, they share the
But I see Aniplex buying out Crunchyroll from Sony to keep it its own subsidiary under Aniplex by itself, not with Sony's leadership.
Chris,
but I also don't see Sony letting that go either.
That's fair, but
as big as it's getting right now. But nobody's buying anything from Sony without Sony getting something good.
Getting cash, getting some money.
I don't see High Dive being able to do that.
Chris, why are you a genius? What in the world? Okay.
Bro, all I do is look around and predict stuff all day. Okay.
Well, that's
fair.
fair.
Like if you don't see the patterns in society, then I can't help you.
That's fair. That's fair. It's just funny because it's like this legitimately we just talked about, and yet it could happen. And like you're right, Deon. Sony's not going to give away Crunchyroll for nothing. But what they would do is go, Aniplex, you can have them. Just give us about $500 million. Give us about $4 billion. Give us enough cash to cover the rest of I
could see that happening if Crunchyroll started to deflate.
I
don't see that happening right now because Sony is Sony. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but Sony doesn't have a strong foothold in production value right now.
Nope.
At this moment.
Absolutely not.
Right? I mean, what are they even putting out that's of value right now? So they gotta keep something around. And I think Crunchyroll is that.
I think for them, their big thing is the PlayStation brand. The PlayStation brand will be their number one. That'd be their
right,
big.
But that's hard. Like production, like their movies and TV entertainment stuff like that. Like, because they still got TVs and game consoles and
like, they still sell. They sell like I think they still sell like
studio recording equipment. Like movie production
headphones.
Equipment. Like Sony's still Sony.
I think the thing is, I think for them, the only reason Crunchyroll's still under there, like they have them under the umbrella, is the fact that they can really do things like offer it on PlayStation, do things where they can really kind of use that to their advantage. Because say, oh, they have Crunchyroll, we have Crunchyroll, you can get on PlayStation for free or something. That kind of stuff. Weird.
I could see something like that happen. You get a discount with your PlayStation Plus membership or something.
Correct. Ultimately,
I wish. Hey, Sony, do that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do that.
But I ultimately think the thing is Aplex is so strong. It's hard to believe to me where Aplex would go. I think Aplex want to be not a site for anime, but a strong one of the top distributors, and they're one of the top distributors. They're one of the best at it. If they could control that, if they could have somebody control that market where they have a place where they can put all their stuff easily, like a Crunchyroll, like a High Dive, something like that, then absolutely they will downright do it. And I think just trying to convince something like Sony to take the rest of
Yeah.
their shares from them, so we can just move on.
You know what's next for them?
What?
And this is if Warner Brothers doesn't beat them to it. A themed con.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. Because
Explain.
Crunchyroll has already done it.
Yes, they have. Explain.
Like a Sony con?
I mean, I would hate it. And she were
Like
right.
you get gamers, you get anime fans, you get techies, you get movie buffs, you get comic book fans, you get like, bro.
That's like if Disney did a Disney Con, but
If
I
Disney did a Disney con,
I mean, they do D23 every year, which is not really a
call it
Disney con.
Mickey con.
They do D23 every year, but it's not a con. It's more
Nah, but that's like a celebration.
celebration.
Right.
Celebration.
Because Sony does their little pop-ups too. I mean, like a dedicated con.
I think they could. The thing is,
Showcasing all the third-party talents that make their products. Yes.
oh, I think the thing.
All selling Sony products.
I think the thing is, but I want to see it. Absolutely. Would it be decent? That's up in the air. Like it's one of those things where, like, okay, I could see Sony doing it. Absolutely. But would it be something I would want to? What I want to see every year? No. What I would see once every couple of
Really?
years. Not every year.
Like, think about how big that'll be, though. You don't know when the next system is gonna drop unless you go to SonyCon first.
Oh yeah.
What? They got a new VR coming out? You got to play with it? Yeah, I went to SonyCon, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not. You're not wrong.
You know this 3D TV they just released it? Bro, it's gonna come out better than the Apple thing. Really? How do you know? I went to SonyCon, bro.
Yeah, that's the only thing about it. Sony could market themselves very well, and
that has the potential to be as big as CES, if not bigger.
Correct.
Yeah. I only see 3 companies being able to actually do that, and Sony is probably the top one that will have the most bang for your buck.
Correct.
Like, I see Sony doing it, I see Apple doing it, and I see Samsung doing it.
Yeah, Samsung could do it. Samsung could do it. Absolutely.
Microsoft was doing it too.
Microsoft.
I can see Microsoft doing it, but Microsoft's been around so long that they're kind of known as the everyday Joe brand.
Yeah, they're the easy brand.
Yeah, but is what I see Microsoft doing is somehow having a contract to be in both. Like I can imagine if they somehow put their Xbox app on PlayStation, you will see them at SonyCon.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can see that.
Okay, let's get into this, because alongside this conversation, here's the thing: Apex put out their big hitter. We got the announcement of season 2 of Solo Leveling, and the funny part about this is something I didn't expect them to do, and it's kind of not super surprising, but it's more surprising, is the fact that Solo Leveling season 2 is gonna be coming out in January, but hold your horses. They also announced the fact that they're gonna put the first 2 episodes worldwide in November for a movie. And the thing was, the other thing about this, which is really also interesting, Solo Level season 2 is called Reawakening. And the first 2 episodes will be screened worldwide in late November. I'm gonna say this right now. They have Japan dates for like South Korea and Japan. South Korea the 28th, Japan the 29th. Don't have any dates for the US It'll probably be somewhere around that point as well. Hopefully, Dion, I'm gonna ask you this first. What do you expect from this soul leveling reawakening season? Because the first two episodes are going to be premiered on screens worldwide. Are we getting like the first episodes are going to be like in 45 minutes each, like 40 minutes each?
Well, ouch. Oh, I got too excited. Well, let's put it this way, right? The content was getting towards the end of solo leveling, towards the Arise episode, the animation, the production value, everything just got so good.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine 45 minutes of that.
I mean, I can't.
Remember how I was saying episode 1 and 2 look like it could be a movie? It could be put together. And 3 and 4 look like they could be put together. I think they heard me.
Like I see them putting out the first episode, like you said, in 45 minutes, and then that be the episode 1 to their season. And you see what and then when they come out as anime, they'll come out as episode 1 through 8, like they were 1 through 12.
Yeah, but it's funny. I agree with both y'all. I do. But it's funny they said first 2 episodes. So that tells me either we're getting a full hour or we're getting a full hour like 20.
The one that's because they heard what I said, B. When I said 2 episodes should have been 1, they heard it. They listened. They listen to everything that come up. I'm telling you. They was like, yo, that dude on to something. Why waste 2 episodes? We could do a big production with 1. Just call it 1 episode. But it's really 1 and 2 put together.
So I'm gonna say this. Chris, you said the season would be 8 episodes, not 12.
I said 8 or 12.
8 or 12. I think because you said this for another show we talked about should be a double core that's coming out. I think this needs to be a double core.
Who?
I think soul leveling needs to be a double core. So you get 12 and 12. Or 8 and 8, whatever, however you want to do it, to make it where you get 16, 24, however you want to do it. Because I think it needs
24 episodes.
Oh, they can do it. They could absolutely do it.
16 to 24 episodes of solo leveling, bro. I would throw up.
They could absolutely do it. They could generally do it because they have the ability to do it.
That is a lot of like at one time. Just you have to release at least 4 episodes at once for me.
You would? Okay, how did My Hero do it then? And they took 3 breaks.
But My Hero ain't as good as solo leveling.
That's also kind of fair.
And I'm not saying as good as solo leveling content wise, because My Hero is My Hero, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean the pacing story of solo leveling.
The story and pacing.
You know, every episode was like, whoo, what's next?
Yeah.
My Hero, you kind of get those episodes where it's like, all right, this is a story. So I'm here for the story. But 5 or 6 episodes.
But to compound that announcement, they're coming out in January 2025, which tells me they're coming out in the winter, which basically also tells me they're coming out in the new year starting fresh.
Isn't that when they released season 1?
Yes, it was in January. It was the same. Well, yeah, because that and MASH came out at the same time period. And it was funny that
so they're sticking on brand.
They're sticking on brand, but I think it needs to be if it's at least 12 with the first episode being at least an hour. I'm down for that. But
I think the first and second episode will be an hour each.
Oh,
and then so you'll get 12 episodes.
So you're telling me the first 2 episodes could be almost 45 minutes with commercials. Without commercial, well, yeah, with commercials.
Not gonna lie, bro. That kind of sound like your wish list again.
Like, if
Yeah,
here's,
yeah.
I don't,
That's hopes and dreams right there.
I don't know where reawakening takes place in the light novel in the web
Yeah,
comic.
you do.
Do I? Oh, actually, I
Yep,
do.
wherever you left off.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I'm in book 2. That's right. Never mind. Yep, I do know. I do know where it takes place. Man, that's gonna be a lot
I
to
didn't
adapt.
read it because
I
I
didn't read it.
wanted to go in blind like Chris did.
I didn't read it. I've started that book and I haven't even. I started listening to it. I was like, oh wait, I need to hear the information before I start reading. If I read something, I spoil myself. We might actually all go blind for this. It'll be kind of fun. But the thing was, like, is Soul Loving gonna be your new JJK or not new JJK, but new like My Hero, your new Attack on Titan?
Mm-mm,
You don't think it will?
mm-mm. No, I don't think it has that much of a fan base.
Okay, fair enough.
Like that's the problem with a lot of great animes. If they don't build a cult like following, and yeah, I know I'm part of a cult, One Piece. I know.
I
But
was gonna mention that, but you didn't
if
even do the
they
first one.
don't
He
build
said
that
it.
cult like following, it's not gonna have as big of an impact. JJK built a cult like following from the very first episode.
But here's the thing: Attack on Titan also well. But here's the
Yeah.
funny thing: do you remember when they had the Icarus fight? And do you remember the fact that before the Icarus fight, during the Icarus fight, and after the Icarus fight, those were the 3 biggest episodes I think Soul Level's ever done on the charts, and yet that had the most. Those 3 episodes had the most story and reason for plot device up through episode 12.
You know what I learned though, going
Uh-huh.
back and watching those, reading comments and on Reddit and stuff. Those weren't anime fans enjoying it. Those were manga readers
That's
and
actually kind
manga
of
readers.
that's actually kind of fair. That's kind of fair. That's
Those
fair.
were the light novel readers who enjoyed that. Seeing their already put like ideas into
Motion.
fruition, like just
Yeah. Yeah.
bam on screen, they were excited for that. And anime watchers enjoyed it because it was good, but they weren't as hype about it as the manga and manga readers. And let's be fair, manga and manga readers aren't as aggressive when it comes to the tweeting and
No,
streaming and
they're
all of
not.
that stuff as anime watchers. So they have a following. Solo leveling has a following. It's just not the one that's. It's kind of like my dress up darling. Like my dress up darling has a following, a big following. I looked into that after our last talk about the live. That's a huge following.
It has a very huge
But you
following.
won't hear about it because these aren't the guys that jump on every Reddit and every stream and
Yeah.
every, you know, these are the guys who sit in their room and read books.
So I'm gonna ask you both this question. I'll start off with Chris for this. With the first 2 episodes being able to be screened worldwide, movie theater, most likely, is that gonna raise the profile of Soul Leveling?
Wait, start over. Ask me that question again.
So with the first 2 episodes being screened in movie theaters worldwide, including Japan, South Korea, and anywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that's gonna raise the profile of Soul Leveling with fans?
If it does well, yes.
What do
Because
you? Okay,
okay, because look at it this way: everything could fail or flop, or
Yes.
everything can have, and everything has a capacity to succeed in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you turn something from a 24-minute to 30-minute episode to a 45-minute, so doesn't mean it's going to be good. However, we do have high hopes for solo leveling. And that's the point that must be taken seriously.
Oh,
Like, is that we
absolutely.
have high hopes for it. Because y'all had an epic first season and everybody has had good reviews about everything else that she put out. Like, oh my God, do not drop the ball.
Definitely.
See, and that's the thing I'm slightly worried about. Slightly. Because every second season we've watched of something, and granted, not everything is on Solo Leveling's level. There's only one thing I would put that close to that level is Dead on Death Play. But even to that point, most second seasons have kind of went. It's just because the story didn't make sense. Things kind of got convoluted, or like we're just like, what happened? Like we didn't. It didn't have a reason to. You go on this roller coaster. You started high and then ended up just kind of like either plateauing and staying in the same place, or just you started well for second season and just kind of went. It's just like, okay, how much, what changed? What had changed? And I think that's why I'm not slightly worried about Solo Leveling. I'm not worried as much, but I'm slightly worried because I know about Solo Leveling. Once we get past this like first season, I think a lot of this next season and a couple seasons behind it are him building up his powers, him getting stronger, him doing things that you wouldn't expect. And so it's a lot of like fighting, basically. And I think the thing I don't want to lose within that point is the human element. Because he has one of the best human element stories of any character I think we've seen. In the sense his family, his mom, the reason he does everything, all of that makes sense.
Sister,
Yeah.
possible girlfriend.
Correct. Yeah. But so like I'm hesitant, but I'm also excited. Should there be? Because I think that's the same reason what Movie Train didn't do as well. Movie Train came out in theaters. It was during COVID, so that's partially why. But then after it came out in Crunchyroll, people went back and watched it like, oh, this was amazing. I think this is going to have the same effect. I think it's not going to be strong in theaters, but when it comes out in Crunchyroll, people see the first episode, like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to watch this.
Well, I have to disagree with you, B.
On what sense?
I only disagree with you on the comparison of Demon Slayer.
Okay.
Because even with the Sword Art,
Fair.
there still wasn't a lot of buzz around the movies.
Fair. But
so
I
if
think
somebody like Demon Slayer, who has the cult following, their movies don't get that much buzz. I don't see Solo Leveling's movies getting a lot of buzz either.
Okay.
But the sad part is, and I just thought of this, I'm sorry.
No good.
If it was MASH, it would do great.
Say what now?
If it was MASH being released in the movie theaters, it would do great.
Okay. Hold on. Chris, you get a second one tonight. That's two. Actually,
Just saying.
I give myself that one
Just
because
saying.
I said it. I said it when we talked about it. You know
And
why?
yes, because you were the one who brought it up and you agreed, and I just backed you up.
Deon, you're right. Only because think of the first season of MASH, and now the second season we've seen the song. And like I said to Chris while we're talking at the beginning, the song has 60 million hits. That'd be the only reason it would do.
And on top of that, MASH didn't do bad.
No, it didn't.
The season sucked, but it didn't do bad. Like people still love MASH. Absolutely love it. They absolutely love it.
But that's the thing. Like I don't want to
cult following, man.
But see, that's the thing. People like the song. I even said this to Chris. People like the song, but you didn't like the show. And yet the song was everything everybody was talking about. Only thing everybody cared about. What? Like, and yet you don't care about the characters. The characters are kind of, it's.
MASH is, people are able to cut their brains off with MASH. I'm not, personally.
Which have also the math. Okay.
No. He changed it up. Hold up. We used to say turn your brains off. No, he said chop your brains off.
Cut your brain off. Yeah.
I'm not able to do it. Personally.
So
that's just who I am. I'm a logical person. I think too critically about everything.
That's fair.
But
so you telling me if they made a season 3 of MASH, which I think we are going to get
which is
on the
coming
road, it is coming. I don't think that's not that. I'm not saying it's
from
confirmed,
the
but we
same
got
studios
the
as Solo Level.
yeah, as Soul 11, it's Aplex, all that kind of stuff.
I just
If
hope
they
it doesn't come out in the same season again.
that we don't know
It
yet.
is.
Oh, that's
It is.
it probably is. It is probably going to
It
just
is.
because they'll use the money to cycle into Soul. Yeah.
And it's timing.
Yeah.
It's timing.
Timing too. So you telling me if Mash made a movie for the first hour of that movie, people will go see just because the song was a banger from the previous season?
No, they'll go see because they like MASH. They don't care about the show being garbage. They like the character.
And then there are too many people, and listen to me carefully. There are too many people who want to relate to MASH.
Yeah.
That's the killer.
The
That's the killer.
wait.
Look
When
at
you say relate to Mash, are you seriously saying relate to somebody who has very little people skills, has a lot of charisma, doesn't care about a darn thing in the
no
world?
charisma. He has no charisma.
He has no charisma,
Purposely.
but he's probably no charisma. But you know what I mean, in the sense of like the way
Yeah.
the show presents it, it
Yeah,
is no
yeah, yeah.
charisma, but he gets that
He
charisma
has that
throughout the
magnetic energy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody who's like overly confident, but just does his thing, huh?
So wait, you're asking a bunch of shed-in anime watchers, and I'm sorry if you're not a shed-in anime watcher, because there's a lot of them that's not.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna
Huh.
put myself in any category because I
Go
want to be one and I can't. So, but
ahead, continue.
you're asking a bunch of anime watchers if they relate to somebody who's an outcast, who doesn't fit into society because of the things that they can't control, who is strong. So
Mm-hmm.
they portray themselves to at least want to be a strong character, whether mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. Who has friends drawn to them without even attempting to. You're seriously asking the fan base of anime if that's a character they want to relate to,
But here's the thing,
and
my
I
friend.
could go on.
You can. Here's the thing with that though. The thing about that is I could counter that and I can counter that with one couple different things. One, most people don't can't really show their fandom off very well when outside the normal world. Two, yes, the shut-in thing, I agree with, makes sense. Three, that also kind of like I get the strength part too, makes sense. Only thing I don't usually get, the only thing I won't usually give you is people just gravitate to a person. They can, but it depends on the person's aura or
But
energy.
most people want that.
They do want that. I'll give you that.
Most,
But it's
not all people, because some people are like, stay the heck away from me.
correct. Correct.
But a lot of people in this world are have that magnetic. Think about when we went to the con. There was nobody there who wasn't
Oh no,
like
talking.
chatting
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
chit chatter.
being, a good conversationist and stuff. Nobody was walking around like, get away from me. Like even people who had get away from me energy, it was like, hey, you mind if I take a picture? You mind if oh yeah, sure, cool, come on. Like
Yeah.
that
Okay.
that energy, man. It's
You're
everybody
not wrong.
wants it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think the thing in with this, with the way this is going to be done, with soul leveling at least, I think it's going to be one of those things where I want to see how this shakes out and what will shake out from it. If it shakes out well enough, I think soul leveling will be fine. Do I think you need a match behind it to keep it relevant? No, I think match can go on the back burner for a while and just leave it be alone, be it by itself.
Forever
But
for all I care.
but the only problem is Mash is the way to keep Mash is there. Like last year, you kind of could tell Mash was just there to keep Soul Leveling just kind of afloat, keep Soul Leveling hyped up because Mash get all the media attention with song and stuff, but Soul Leveling got you more of that story grounded attention. We'll see what happens. I don't really know.
I think they wanted to release something on opposite ends of the spectrum
Correct.
and see how they did.
Correct. And that's the thing. The spectrum is flipped on both ends. I will say right
But if
now,
they stick to the script that's laid out for them, the mama that's already laid out for them, it'll be good.
it'll be good. I will say right now, I'm at like an 8 or a 9 for see where 11 goes. I'm really excited, but also I think that's gonna just depend on how they handle it. I think they can handle it well, like you say, sticking with the manga, sticking with the webtoon, sticking with all that stuff. But that's the big thing. The only other difference to me is how do you get new fans involved? But that's the only big thing I can see. Let me know what y'all thinking about the comments for
By
Aplex.
releasing a movie.
yeah, pretty much. Let me know what y'all in the comments think about Apex or Aplex Fest 2024 and Soul Leveling getting announced in all those announcements, because that's gonna be just wow what Aplex is doing. And Aplex is cooking. They've been one of the best at what they do, so I can't complain. But let's get into these anime charts before we get to the episodes tonight. And I will say, this anime chart wasn't surprising at all for the most part. So this is week 11 for the Anime Corner, September 6th through the 13th. Hide My Feelings and Russians at 1. Days with My Stepsisters at 2. Too Many Loser Herons at 3. 2.5 The Seduction at 4. Or Demented Seduction at 4. Dropped a spot. Oshinoko went up. Went back in the chart at 5. Then you had Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest went to 6, dropped 2 spots. Pseudo Harem went up 5 spots. Wands or Storia Wands and Swords dropped a spot to 8. Mission Yokohama Family went up 1 spot, and the Cafe Terrace went down a spot to 10. Chris, what do you think about this anime chart?
Bro, see, this chart is interesting now. See, and even Oshinoko couldn't even come back to the same spot. Like, I keep going lower as far as I'm concerned. Because I have been watching the show, and it really is just a weird show. Like,
I said that.
without any of the context of the manga, it's still a weird show. Okay,
Yeah.
now
See,
Pseudo
okay. I
Harem,
know I wasn't tripping.
Pseudo Harem. I am glad to see you come up because now I feel like I need to go back and finish watching it. Oshinoko, yeah. 2.5, yes. I can see why you fell, but you're still in the top spots as far as I'm concerned. The
Yeah.
rest of the top 3, yeah, I really need to go back and especially finish Wars in Russian because I feel like that one was getting good.
Deon, what do you think about these charts?
Well, to me, it feels like nothing really moved except for Pseudo Harem coming in 5 spots, right? And then Oshinoko coming back on the list. Now granted, Too Many Losing Heroines moved up 3 spots. That's great. But I feel like a lot of the other stuff that moved was because Oshinoko came back on the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if that was still gone, we probably still see Fairy Tale at least up.
Yeah.
2.5 would probably still be down because of Loser Heroines, but
I feel like
everything
Elusive
else would
Samurai
still
would
be
have been
kind of
number 10.
stacked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is it 11?
Actually, no. Okay, I'm about to reveal that now.
Uh-oh.
So Slime's at 11. My Hero's at 12. My Dear Moment is at My Dear
Slime
Moment
makes a
is at
lot of sense
13.
right now.
My Dear Friend Nogata's at 14. Near Automata's at 15. Failure Frames at 16. No Longer Not Another World is at 17. Spice and Wolf is at 18. What is Nobody Remembering in This World is at 19. Own Sin is at 20. I Parries 22. Strongest Magician in the Demon Lord's Army is at 23. Beach Legend 25. I Became Ordinary 26. Let me see. Does this have Shy's at 36? Or Shy's at 38. Plus Elves at 39. Dungeon People's at 42, which I think that should be higher. I'm looking. Oh yeah, okay. I thought that was right. I think this is the chart before they took a week off, the Samurai show. That's right.
Okay.
They took a week off. They're back as of this past week. So this chart will not reflect that. But yeah, that's not on this list this week. But yeah, they would have been in top 10, guaranteed. Yeah, and like me and Chris talked about earlier, this is I don't know if you agree with this, Deon. Do you think this is one of the weaker summer seasons we've had?
Weaker? No. Misjudged? Yes.
When you say misjudged, what do you mean?
So we've got a lot of dope anime this season.
Okay.
A lot. Failure Frame. Why don't nobody remember me? I Parry Everything. Oh, Sonic Adventurer. Delicious. Not Delicious in Dungeon. The 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. We've got Fairy Tale. We've got My Hero going. We got Reincarnated as a Slime going. Like, there's a lot of dope anime going right now.
You know what, Deon? See, I actually said almost the complete opposite.
You did.
I told
Really?
Brandon that this season was the whatever the crap that dogs are trying to scratch out their ass on the carpet.
He almost choked.
And the
He almost
only
choked
reason,
later.
Please
and,
explain.
and yes, the only reason I'm saying that is because a lot of these shows, especially some of the ones you mentioned, the episodes were so off and on. It was like dragging your eyes on the carpet, trying to watch through to see the good. Okay,
Really?
that's the way I
You got to
felt.
give me at least one example.
Okay, look at
I give you
Shy.
two. I give you two.
I'm gonna stick with one of the
Nah, see, I
shows,
didn't
Shy.
mention Shy. I'm talking about out of the ones I mentioned.
Okay,
Okay.
out of the
What?
ones you mentioned, look at
Shy is
Onsen.
definitely
Like
not one of
yes,
the shows I mentioned. I can't
Brandon
make it through
said
one of those
this.
episodes without.
Look at Anton and I Perry is a good
Yes,
example of that.
Brandon said this.
Because
Go ahead, Brandon.
Anton and I Perry do the exact same story. Here's the problem. When Anton is good, Perry is really kind of not great. When Perry is good, Anton's not great. They flip flop their storytelling, and the funny thing is, it's two main characters who have whatever P powers in the sense of one can parry everything, the other is just super strong and doesn't know how to use it. And yet, it's funny because then they'll tell a story of them trying to gain being more humanized, learning about their world, learning about what they need, where with their friends, all this kind of stuff. And at times they'll do something great one episode and then just kind of like falls off a cliff the next. And it's odd because I caught up
Sorry,
with
I disconnected. Which one?
Onsen and O'Perry. So I Perry. So like when I Perry is good, so like they do a good thing with the character, they build him up, they get him stronger. Onsen can try to do the exact same thing, but then the story kind of falls off because they're doing something totally different that doesn't really make sense to what the character's about. Or he doesn't have understanding of, hey, I have this power, but I really don't know how to use it. Good example is the current episode that just came out. And I'm not gonna spoil anything. Somebody mentioned the fact that the YouTuber I follow, and he does reviews and stuff, mentioned on this episode, he was chasing Tail. I'm like, wait, what? I had to go back and watch the episode. I went to watch the episode. I'm like, oh, he's chasing the girl he knows from his friendship. I'm like, huh? Why? And it was confusing because that's also the episode a couple episodes prior, they did the whole tournament thing where they're doing the tournament fights and all that stuff. So it's kind of like, what's going on? Like, I don't really understand. 1 minute they can be doing amazing things. The next minute they're just kind of goofballs. And tell me if I'm wrong, Deon. Tell me if I'm wrong, Deon, because ultimately without Perry,
it started off with this goofball who didn't even know he was strong enough to do anything. His entire personality is, I'm lost in this world without somebody telling me what to do.
Yep, there it is.
That's his entire personality from day one. So he's kind of sticking with that.
They are. I think the thing is when they're sticking with it, I think that I Perry's better. I'll say that I parry's better overall, but I think when I parry kind of falls off, cause like the episode I just currently watched I
Wait,
parry.
you think I Perry's better than the Ocean Adventure?
Uh huh.
Give me
Ooh.
3 reasons why.
3. I think the
3.
character. I think the character's more interesting than I parry because I think he has a more understanding of like, okay, yes, I am just a guy who parries things, but
Hmm.
I'm trying to become a better person, and he wanted to be a swordsman in the first place. Second, the people he's encountered, at least he's trying. The people he's encountered, he has had an interconnection with everybody he's encountered, to the point where
Hmm.
he's encountered the king, and the king has been like, "Okay, I want to give you the sword. I want to have you teach my daughter all this stuff,"
Hmm.
which is kind of cool. And thirdly, it feels like he has grown a lot more than the guy from Olmsted.
So you're talking about the guy who literally, not even just figuratively guessing, literally has no clue at all, still to this point, that he's the one doing stuff. At least in the
Yeah,
Ocean Adventure, he's gaining some type of self realization
he's
into
gaining
who
it,
he is versus the guy who literally picked up a boy off the ground and said, "Oh, you're the one controlling this giant dragon that I just fought."
I mean, you're not wrong. You ain't wrong. But I think it's also kind of funny that yeah, he has learned. The guy from Olmsted has learned and has gotten better. But then at the same point, he can do things like, oh, where he beat that girl, the bratty girl, and
Hmm.
her brother, and didn't know he beat them. He just
You
kind of
mean
did
the
it.
one that was showboating and talking about her skills, and the first time he ever came up against anybody that was even remotely possibly strong? Yeah,
That's
as
fair.
a person who don't know my strength, I would be like, oh, okay, she say she fast, so maybe she holding back.
But yet at the same time,
Just
that
like just like our Perry did against the spear user. Oh, he said he's strong, so maybe he's holding back. It's the same thing. I can't see that being the argument. I'm sorry.
but I think the thing is, if you look at both shows comparatively, Olsen's the higher of the two. I agree, but Olsen's higher because the other one's on high dive. Also, I don't think a lot of people know Hyperion on high dive, which is also kind
Yeah,
of a,
I give you that.
that's a fair
But you
success.
said it was a better show.
I think it's a better storytelling. I think the storytelling is more fun in that one in Hyperion. But I think
Uh,
I will give you this. I will give you the character development a little bit has got a little bit stronger Osen because he's actually built the character. But the storytelling of
mhm.
what we've done for Hyperi is more fun. I think the Osen
I
story
mean,
is good, but the Osen story is also a guy who's trained with a bunch of powerful people, and yet he doesn't know like
versus
yeah.
the guy throwing rocks at sticks, and all of a sudden he's like the
I know.
most strongest person in the world.
Yeah, yeah. I love
Like
the fact, Chris.
literally, his training montage was throwing rocks at sticks. We didn't see him train anything else, but all of a sudden it's better. His little fire is better than everybody. We didn't get to see that training. His
But at least
like
now you see what I'm talking about. It was like dragging my eyes on the carpet.
Because I don't think I will give you this. I don't think the summer season has been terrible. Chris rated it a 5. I would give it like a 3. But ultimately, I don't think there
you
was
would
enough.
give Osan Adventure a 3?
No, a summer season in general as a whole, like
The
summer
summer
and in general as a whole, a 3.
I don't see what you guys are seeing.
I
This season has way more, like, way better anime than the last season did. We had 3 good animes in the last season.
Now, isn't this the opposite ends of the spectrum?
We had 3 good anime last season. That's it.
Three.
3. Name me more.
Name the 3 you're thinking of before we do that.
No. I want to hear what you think, and if my 3 are on that list, I'll let you know.
I have to look back in the list. I can't.
Exactly.
It would take me a second.
Exactly.
But okay,
Exactly.
hold on. So what 3 were you thinking of before I?
And I won't even call them good.
That's the
I
problem.
would just say they're big.
See,
But we
that's the
had
thing.
Solo Leveling and MASH,
Okay.
right? And then we had what? Crimson, Ragnar Crimson.
Ron Christmas. Ron Christmas is pretty big. That got on
Right.
the chart. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's it. All the rest of them, be it, I like some of them. You know, I liked Witch and Beast. There's a couple of them that I did like, but they didn't do anything. What, Frearing?
Fearing was up there. That's what I was gonna mention.
But is
Fearing was
that good?
it was one of the top animes of that season.
But look at me and tell me.
I mean, I can't.
Look at me and tell me that was good though. For you.
It was decent.
Exactly.
It was decent, but at least it got.
So was Shangri-La.
Oh,
Shangri-La was good.
Hold on. I'll give you this. Shangri-La was actually great because I think Shangri-La did something that most anime can't do.
I wouldn't say it was great.
Oh, that was fun.
I'm a big Sword Art Online person, so you can't give me a full dive MMO type of game and then not let me compare it to Sword Art Online. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're right.
as good as it wasn't no SAO. So.
But here's the thing. Like me and Chris talked about from the beginning of the show, and we're getting to Dungeon People in a second. So get up, Dungeon People, episode 11. It's a thing where, like we've talked about earlier this season, a lot of stuff in the season is a lot of drama, a lot of isekai. What's the last season had? A lot of drama, a lot of isekai. Ultimately,
they had a few shonen though. They just
shonen.
didn't do anything.
Few shonen.
That was our complaint about last season.
Yeah, it was. You're not wrong. I will say
last season didn't even move. Their charts never moved.
Oh, the charts never moved. The charts never moved.
This season's chart is all over the place.
At least it's moving, except the top 3. The top 3 is like kind of sense.
They still moved. Oshinoko was holding the number 1 spot for a while. Where is it now?
That's fair. That is fair.
My dear friend was holding a deep spot. Where is it now?
Fair.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like.
No, you're not.
But
hey,
this season is dope compared to a lot of seasons of anime that we've had.
Because I like Mocha
We
Punch.
got Fairy Tail, Reincarnation, and My Hero going at the same time.
Yeah. But see, Slime has kind of fallen off for a lot of people, which I thought was kind of interesting.
But it was number 11.
11
this week.
My Hero's 12, so it's moved up. I think
Slime has and they both been in the top this entire season.
Yeah, they have.
They both have been in the top.
It's hard because I don't know what they're gonna do. Me and Chris kind of talked about it, and we kind of like summer is there, like they throw things at summer and just hope they stick. And some of the stuff has sticks. So after I was talking, I would say more. I said a 3 because I think the ones I watched I liked. But some of the other stuff I didn't like. I'm not gonna watch. I wanted to watch My Wife. Was emotional, but I thought, no. Or My Wife had no emotions. I was like, but I like that. I like the premise. I think the premise is cool.
Some of the are we counting Monster, Grandma and Grandpa, and all that stuff in the summer?
Well, that was more spring.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. All that was spring. That's why we rank spring higher too. Because that's even though Remonster wasn't amazing, Remonster was good enough.
I'm like, wait, no. Remonster was summer.
No, it was spring because it was the end of spring. It was right at the tail end of spring. It was early. Actually, no, it was early spring because early spring, and then it ended right before summer started.
No,
I could be wrong, but I thought because even Grandpa and Grandpa were early spring.
Because when was Solo Leveling?
that winter.
So Remonster it had to be the end of spring. Yeah.
And the spring. So Soul Leveling was that winter.
If it's not considered summer, it's end of spring.
End of spring. Yeah. So that's on that list too. That's fair.
Oh, so that's even worse because I counted Solo Leveling as spring.
Yeah.
So that means my top 3 aren't even in the spring.
No, because I think Soul Leveling season 1 was that. Solo season 1 was in that first little bit. That's why it's kind of weird.
I mean, we got Terminator. We got, even though I didn't like it, Suicide Squad debuted.
Yeah, Suicide Squad.
Like Rick and Morty pushed out. It was garbage, but it pushed out. Squeak by. Nah, I'm not even gonna put that into this argument. I would lose that based off of this bias, based off of Rick and Morty by itself. But
Soul Leveling came out, spring or winter. I was right. That just looked it up.
And Remonster was spring.
Spring, yeah, Remonster was spring. So it's funny. You're not wrong. I agree
and
with.
We all know how that did. So
yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. It's just kind of weird because I think I told Chris this summer is kind of hard because you have cons, you have people doing things. So summer anime is not really much of a thing comparatively when our fall and our springs are bigger in terms of anime. But I don't know. Like, I think that's the thing that kind of boggles my mind, that fall and spring are the ones they really care about, and summer and winter are kind of just there.
I mean, summer they throw their big release tries out.
Yes,
that's
do.
When they try their big content.
And that's what Chris said. They try the stuff that might hit. If the things hit, they'll keep it. If they don't, they'll get rid of it.
Because Demon Slayer was what, spring?
Spring. Mm-hmm. Spring.
Like that was probably the biggest one. Demon Slayer and Kaiju.
Yep. Demon Slayer and Kaiju. I mean, we'll
Demon
see.
Slayer and Kaiju.
We'll see. Like one other one was in that time period too. I think the thing is, I think what we're gonna see, and you're not wrong. I think this summer was strong enough for the stuff I liked. But for stuff I wasn't gonna like I think Russian's okay. I think I'm not gonna watch Yoshinoko after y'all both seen it. I'm like, at this point, I'm kind of like, don't want to watch it.
I didn't see it.
You've seen the first two. You've seen the first season, and Chris has seen the first season. At this point, I am not gonna watch
I haven't watched any of it.
Oh, you haven't watched any of it, so you just read the manga.
I read it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Fair enough. We'll see. But this is actually a good conversation because I don't really know how anime is gonna end up in the next couple of years, where seasons and stuff. Because I think the season model is gonna go away eventually. Anyway, I think we don't do fall, winter, summer, spring. I think if we keep that same timeline, spring and fall will be your two big ones. Winter, summer kind of your tested grounds, but they can all move around too.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it depends on when the big stuff got released and start taking off. Cause like Solo Leveling released in the winter time, so now it's gonna release in the winter time again.
Correct.
So it's gonna keep that tradition going. But like now we got Terminator. If Terminator releases next summer again, and we get a couple more of these big ones that's taking off, like Code Geass came back.
Yeah.
What's the one? Reincarnated as a demon lord, I think.
No, the demon lord in the magician and demon lord army is a human. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, not that one. It's one that was good before, but it slept on this season.
Oh yes, I think I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the title, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that came back like Blue Exorcist. Like if they come out in the winter and summer and do good again, then we'll get those big summer and winters again. But
Yeah.
it's all based off fan base, man. Like I
Oh
said,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
don't have that cult following, like it's gonna flop. Like Witch and Beast was very good,
Yes, it was.
extremely good, but it was a flop.
It was. It was a big flop. It was a flop. Yeah. All right. Let's get into this episodes tonight. And
Are we
actually, I'm
doing
gonna
dungeon people or shy?
let's do this. Let's do shy and leave dungeon people because I want to keep up with the shy and we kind of can talk through it at the end because I think shy is more
I
important.
appreciate that. While I'm still wide awake.
we'll do shy. We'll leave dungeon people because I think we know dungeon people is good. We can go back to it at any point. So dungeon people episode 10 we'll leave off because I think there's going to be a lot of news next week. I don't think because we just kind of finished Aplex Fest, a couple other things. There's not going to be a lot of news. We're about to get the fall season. The only thing that will fall that we think will come up is like fall listings. But let's do shy. We'll end off with that tonight, and then we'll just kind of talk about it as to the end of the podcast. So get up shy episode 23. And ultimately, if we want, we can just watch Dungeon People by ourselves, and then we'll talk about it next week as well. So that's the other thing we can do. So we're getting that now. After last week's episode of Shy, I wonder where they're going. I am slightly worried. I feel like I got betrayed a little bit because I think that episode was so weak, but that's just me. In a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Deon, you ready?
Sure. Yes, I'm ready.
Oh, no worries. So in 3, 2, 1, go. With the Moon. Okay, this is an interesting title name. You know, it's funny. You bring up a good point with Sigma. We don't get to see. Well, we don't. He's the villain, but we haven't seen him do anything except that one fight,
Right.
which is
We've
also kind
seen
of
way
like
much more of him in the first season than we ever did in this season.
in the season. He's around in the season, but he only comes up like the beginning of the season, and then the last episode we watched, he comes up. Outside of that, he hasn't been around. Last 2 episodes.
He's been on screen a total of like 1 minute this entire season.
Yeah, which is I think it's funny. You and Chris, but me and Chris especially like shows that have really good first seasons, and then everything. The second time we select the second season, they fall off. It's just like, why do we watch the first season in general?
Yeah, that sucks because it's like you get invested and like you're like, oh, it's gonna be so good, and then what?
Oh, it was bad.
That's how I felt about MASH.
Yeah,
But at least this one comes in right where it left off,
yeah.
which is good because the last one threw me through a loop.
Nope.
Like it came in straight story.
Yep. Say what now? Explain that reasoning.
World full of outcasts.
Do you hear yourself talking right now?
You know what? I don't pay him any attention after that whole cuteness fight.
That's the other problem. His cuteness fight was so weird, and like now you're trying to be so serious. And she stopped being evil, which is fine. I agree with that. Sister love. That's wait. Did she just say the bear attacked him because he said something dumb? Really? Okay, that's kind of funny.
Oh, so she's gonna keep the train going.
Where'd she get a lot? Where'd she get a match? Oh, that's Harley Quinn asked. But no,
Oh
bummer.
wow. All she's missing is the pudding.
Yep. Oh, jeez. He took that shot in his back. Oh, she opened more of the hole. Great.
Little bear, little bear.
By the way, you could have done that earlier. To be honest, you let the hole get that big. Wait, you're still up there.
I could have sworn they was leaving together.
Who?
The little ninja guy and the other hero.
Oh yeah, no,
Didn't they take off together?
they
We
did,
seen the little ninja
but
2
they
episodes ago.
yeah they did. But he ran off. He told him he could handle it.
Wow. Oh, ain't that sweet? You can die on your own, shorty. I don't know if I feel okay with that. Even if we die here, what do you mean?
Wait. Is she atoning for her consequences?
Of course. But this is shy, so they're not gonna let it happen.
Nope, she's about to do it. Oh, she dead. we got.
Mm, mm, mm.
Oh yeah, she's still chained to the yeah.
Yeah, they'll do nothing but break the chains, and then they go find her body laying down, and the medic girl's gonna bring her back to life.
Huh? Oh, you called that. Oh, you called that. But it really wasn't necessary. Wait, did he just say she's gonna use the moon to swallow up all the fear in the world?
Yeah, from the city. Everything inside of that ball, at least.
Wait, where's the sword? She threw it away.
Okay, Shaw, do your thing.
By the way, how is she still carrying the sword? By the way, because she did throw it away.
Who's shy?
Uh huh.
Some playing it in their heart. Oh, she got it. I think she had just put it down for dramatic effect.
Wait, did you say I can't allow for a sad ending? that's a that's a,
Tell you,
that's a
this is
line.
shy.
All right, all right, all right.
Not gonna let her go out like that.
Okay, this man can grow wings. What the? Okay. All right. I'm slightly confused.
Wildlife transformation.
Wait, why is she gonna walk under the sun? And why? What? Okay.
Hmm. How far are we into this?
13 minutes and
Shy
58.
couldn't stay out of Shy's territory for 13 minutes. I had to do a sad flashback.
That's a random place to put the flashback.
It's Shy. This is remember last episode when she got to talking to the sword?
Yeah.
It's always like right in the middle of something.
But they did the Ghost of Christmas Past and the Ghost of Christmas Future, and then that whole.
This animation still is cool though.
Yeah, it does. It's very good. Yeah, he grew wings. Wait, I thought Shy could fly. So why does she need help?
Yeah, that's weird.
And then she was out. She was out because of the battle, so she couldn't. Yeah, that makes more. That would make sense. But
But I thought her power came from the power of her heart or
of the
something like
heart
that.
with the little.
So her heart ain't in this conversation.
I don't know what.
Of course. Kind-hearted ninja maiden. Landed on kind of thick there, aren't you, Shy?
And they not let Shy die here. We just let it.
Right. Wouldn't it be a plot twist though if she became evil
Yeah, it would be a
and
plot
then the
twist. They're not
next
doing that plot.
season was like them trying to stop Shy?
Yeah.
That would be. I would watch it then.
She knocked her out. I like the animation of the moon there. That's really cool. Huh? Wait, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because she's the sun. She's the fire. She has the fire.
I love how they're fighting. They're gonna have a lifelong conversation, but their conversation makes sense because they both knew the mom, so this all makes sense for the most part.
Yeah, it's like, didn't we already have these battles though?
Yes, we did. That's the problem. We're redoing them for the most part. Man, she is so much like Harley Quinn. Oh, what the? Are they about to blow up the moon? Oh, the song. Wow, they used that in the right place. Oh, the reporter girl.
The
The best,
original storyline
the
from
best.
this season.
Okay, wow, that's the first time we've seen the reporter girl since this
Yeah, halfway through this season.
yeah, since I'm halfway through the season.
That was a random story.
How did that even work? Oh, he's actual bird. Wow, he's like bird closet. Okay, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's what he was carrying Shy with, like his little bird feet.
Uh, okay, that was episode 23 of Shy with the Moon. I I don't know how to explain this because it's weirdly good, but not great. It's better than last week, but it still has a weird premise that doesn't really make much sense. So I'll give it in two parts. I'll put it in two parts. The first part of this, we kind of see Shy and the rest of the group get his sister, Aoi, and the guy that's been with the family for long is tried to get her Mai out of all this funk. And they were like, we can do this together. We can do this as a family. We can do this, that, the other. And the horn guy, the guy that was with the bear thing, the little bear, he's like, why are you switching now? You had darkness in your heart. He explains all this stuff, which kind of doesn't really make much sense. But ultimately, the Joker girl was like, yeah, you said all this stuff for what reason? She lights a match, throws the match into the bear's mouth, which had a bunch of bombs, blow up, kabooey, and opens up a giant hole in the sphere thing. Ultimately, from this, we get Sentry trying to close up the hole with his powers, but doesn't really work. It holds off for that. And then Mai goes, I need to do this. I need to atone for everything I've done and ultimately use the moon to clear out all this fear, which she tries. But she can't hold on for much longer because all this fears in the world, everything like that. And then from there, we get a flashback, which I don't know. I don't know if this flashback was even interesting because it's there for a reason, but the reason is, hey, we're just doing a flashback. Um, we're doing a flashback, and the flashback kind of talks about why she had to walk to the moon, why she can't walk in the sun, all this kind of stuff. I'm gonna end that first half right there. Deon, what do you think about this first half?
It's definitely a step in the right direction. A better start for Shy. You know, it kept my attention for the most part, which
Yeah,
is more than I can say for the rest of the episodes of this season. Um, but what I liked about how they did the beginning part of this, they came right back in
yes, they
with
did.
how they left off before they start jumping and creating all these other storylines and trailing in these flashbacks and stuff. You still get to feel like you're finishing the last episode, which the
Mhm.
last episode didn't give that for me. So I'm
Correct.
glad they did that with this one. Other than that, it
Um,
was Shy.
then the back half of this, which is kind of weird. After that, we get the flashback with Mai, talk about the moon, all that kind of stuff. When she has to be, when she got dark and everything. The sword talks to Shy, and it's funny. Not the sword specifically, but the guy who was the essence of the sword talks to Shy, saying, "You need to help Shy. You need to help Mai. Do this. She can't do this all by herself." Then Shy grabs the sword and she tells Al, we have to do this. We can't. I'm not saying no for an answer. So Shinobi dude is like, fine, do beast form, flies flies them up there, and do it all as one. And the sister's kind of hesitant, but she grabs hands. They do it together. And then once that's finished, they put a giant. Um, they said they need the sunlight, so that Shia used her fire power to make a giant ball. This ball engulfs the moon, basically engulfing it to make it where it goes, uh, like so bright to where all the darkness goes away, all the fear goes away, and it ends up just being like a really wholesome moment. The thing I thought was interesting, we cut back. So we cut back to a guy on dark with the fear and stuff. He kind of falls back to the ground. We see Century. We see Star. I think Starlight. I think what his name is. Um, we see the reporter girl. We see her best friend from the first season too. It's like we saw these people. We saw their head, Una. I think it's Una General. I think what's her name called. We saw these people, and then the world's kind of at peace, and it's kind of just interesting. But everybody's Shy did it. She became a hero. All this kind of stuff, and that's where the episode kind of ends. What do you think about the second half of this, Dion? Because the second half of this was interesting, but it also kind of felt odd.
This is kind of where the Shy writing plot like took over. Like you stop getting to that, ooh, what's gonna happen next,
Uh,
and you start feeling like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, we know it's gonna happen.
yeah, you
Especially
already had.
towards the back end of it, it's like, all right, I know this isn't gonna go the way they're saying it's gonna go. This is Shy. Like,
Yeah, it was a shock.
it's hard to be cutting edge in this show because they have such an agenda with their characters. But I mean, it wasn't bad. I don't want to.
No,
It sounds like I'm saying it's bad. It's
no, it
not
wasn't.
bad. It's just predictable,
Yeah,
which I
because
guess is bad. But
when the
I don't
sister
know.
broke out of her chains, the first thing I thought about, and I'm not going to go full far into it because it doesn't. This season doesn't do as like the first season does. The first season used a lot of religious text and religious kind of undertones. This is the first thing I've noticed from this season that really did that. The breaking of chains, the breaking of your fear of, like, even the thing mentioned sin to her, to Mai at one point.
Yeah, he did that the last time we seen him. We seen Sigma too. It was
Yes, yes, he
some
did.
blonde hair, blue eyed, cross bearing person reference in there too.
Yeah, which I don't. I'm like, this is the first time you really kind of honed in on it in a while, but it's like you really went there. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if they're gonna explain this. Well, they explained it. They kind of explained it, but didn't. And she just kind of flies up about to start to do like the moon thing. I
Yeah.
also feel like too the ending where Shy finishes off and she's kind of laying there with her friends. We have one more episode left. I don't know what the last episode is going to be then, because that tells me we're getting a season 3. We're guaranteed a season 3. Like, it's going to happen. Because we
Yeah.
still haven't beat the big bad of Sigma. But
Still haven't even seen the big bad of Sigma.
no, yeah, that's what the problem. I've seen Sigma in like 3 episodes.
Yeah, at least 2. Because I think we seen them not this episode, not the last episode, but the episode before that.
Correct. I I'm gonna ask for this. I probably can guess what the answer is gonna be. What would you give Shy episode 23 for a rating?
This episode actually isn't that bad comparative to all the Shy episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I like the kind of, I want to say any episode with a Harley Quinn type of character in it. She kind of saves some stuff for me because she is kind of unpredictable.
Oh,
Like,
she's super unpredictable
I wouldn't have
in a good.
expected her to blow her own bear up with the bombs.
And
But
literally, I skipped over one section where they have the little fight again between everybody, and then
yeah,
her and the Russian girl just talking, and then she randomly just pulled out a sword and just says, "You're gonna die." I'm like, okay, wait, what? Kind of random.
yeah, yeah. That was actually like, okay, this is cool. So I'll give it like a solid 3
Okay,
in
okay.
comparison, because everything else has been lower, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, for the like,
I
it's not a 0 for me like the rest of them have been.
I I would have to give this like a 3.54. If you had to really push me on it, 4. I don't think it's terrible. It's better than most of the other episodes. I think the story is there. I think what they were trying to do is there. I don't know what you do for the last episode because there's still one episode left. What do you do this last episode
Yeah,
before? Like, everything's good again. Everything's happy. If
feels like
Sigma's
you
just gonna,
ended it, right?
yeah. So Sigma can come back and go, oh no, it ain't. Here's the teaser for the season 3. Like, I don't really want to see that now.
But I would rather him do that than them show an episode of them like sitting at the house all together with the new sister and like having a tea party.
Yeah, that's also true. I, I don't know.
Inviting her
It's
up to the tower and stuff like.
yeah, yeah. I don't know where they could go, but they can go multiple different routes for this. I think the other thing I'm kind of also interested in, without Sigma getting anything in the end of this season, it just seems like Sigma was just kind of and it's gonna be kind of sad to say, he's like your Two Face, where he doesn't really do much. He's just there.
Yeah, like he's the bad guy, but it's not giving you a real reason as to why.
Why? He's a bad guy.
Like
He's just
outside of you saying he's the bad guy, he's not the one we're seeing as the bad guys.
Oh
on
no,
this show.
not at all. But yeah, we'll watch that last episode next week, see what that goes. I do thank Chris for joining me earlier because he had to go somewhere this evening. That's why he left on early. And then Deon finished out the ending with me, which this has happened before, so I'm good with that. I can do very well with that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where Shy ends. Do I really think if a season 3 does get announced after the fact, I'm gonna watch it? No. Yes and no. Yes, I want to see what's about. Am I interested? No. Am I interested enough to care about where it's going? No, because I think the story still is getting convoluted. Because the other thing about the season was Shy was supposed to get stronger as a hero.
Yeah.
Like kind of like not real, like kind of not really. Like she did, but she didn't.
Yeah.
It feels
Like we
like
didn't see any real awakening from Shy herself.
correct.
Like it
He
was
just
cool to see her get the katana, but then she drops it and we don't see any more of that like growing because that was some power build.
yep, that was.
But yeah, no.
I mean, let me know
I
in the
would like to
comments.
see her get stronger though.
Yeah, she need to get stronger. I think that's what season 3 would be, getting her fully strong, where she's leading the team, or somebody retires. Because I think the British guy or Century will retire at that point, somehow, some way. Don't know what that would be, something of that nature. Or she becomes like Japan's really top hero at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do you think that the lady is like grooming Shy to take her place?
Yes,
The angel looking woman?
yes, but I don't know. You haven't told that story well enough. Then, if that's the case,
Like she's trying to make sure she's like pure of heart. But and this is just speculation.
yeah,
All
let's tell it.
speculation. But she's
Tell
like
Violet.
making sure she's like pure of heart and can handle situations and
And the funny thing, we saw at the end of this episode, she's there and she's proud of Shy for doing what she did. So there is precedent there if you really want to think about it. She's one of the team leaders of this battle thing because it was our hometown. She's from the area.
yeah.
I get it. I do get it. It is kind of weird. It doesn't really have that like clear cut like this is what you want to do. But hey, I'm not like surprised.
Yeah. Like give me an definitive answer when it comes to something like this. Like I want to know
Yeah.
if it's and the reason why I say this because I want to know if it's worth watching the next season.
Ding 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 ding. There you go. There's the big thing. There's the big reason why I think it's gonna be hard pressed to trust people because you don't know if the next season's gonna be worth a watch. It'll be worth it, but it won't. But is it gonna be worth a watch? That watch is gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah. This last episode is gonna make me want to watch next episode because we're gonna see where Sigma goes. We want to see where this, that, and the other goes.
Right.
Yeah.
That like cliffhanger. I hate to say it like that, but it's always good to leave you wanting more.
Yes. Always. Very much so.
I don't
I,
think this did it. Not
no.
this episode.
No.
They said they
No.
can't leave off on this episode.
If
So the
they
next
there's
episode's
one
gotta
I
be
think
like an actual episode. It can't be a OVA type.
there is one episode left. If I'm right, there should be one episode left, but I don't know what you would do because you've ended off in a place where everybody's happy and cheery, and then Sigma is just sitting in the background, kind of pissed, but we don't know he's pissed. Like I don't really understand where you go unless you have Sigma just really mess something up, or have a new evil or new team member on his team or something. Could be a lot of things. But yeah, I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of like, okay, just chuck that, chuck that for now. We'll see what happens. But I will say, I will tell people to watch the first season. The second season you can probably skip for the most part. The second season you can skip. The first season is fun. The season is very interesting. It's very fun. The second season is kind of hit or miss. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like I said, I do thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy. We'll be back next week for episode 74 of the Anime Dojo. Like I said, Chris came early, did the early stuff for me. Deon covered the rest of the episode. I do appreciate these guys kind of splitting their time and doing it together, but also I can handle where we're doing it. One comes early, one comes in the end. Always easy, kind of can do that greatly. And you hear a lot of conversation we had at the beginning, so there's a lot of conversation stuff. That's why we only did one episode tonight. A lot of good talking. That's usually a good thing for a podcast.
Yeah, we did it. We did a lot more, especially
Which is
because I
fair.
jumped in late on the conversation. So
Which is fair. Hey, that's what I always like to try to get your opinion, even though you jump in late sometimes.
I appreciate it.
But we'll see what happens. We're gonna finish off Shy for sure. Most likely, what I'll have, we will just finish off the episode because Dungeon People's one episode behind where Shy sits. They're at episode 11 next week. I might just tell the guys to watch episode 10. We can watch episode 11 and then kind of recap from there. Because these are people you're not going to miss much because it's just story stuff, and the story stuff is pretty easy to follow. Any other things news-wise comes out, I don't think the only thing I think we'll get is the full fall season finally dropping. We'll get some teacher stuff from Instagram and things, but I want to see the full list, so we should get that next week. And other than that, yeah, the news been pretty getting quieted down for the most part. But this will go up on Spotify when it processes, and then it will go up on the YouTube channel on Thursday. I'll put that out, so that will go out Thursday morning. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy, and hope you next time. See you.
Peace.